fades, forget the cold. Spring greens, they never look so bold. Against blue skies and leafless trees, getting ready to burst out with signs of spring. The spring peepers, birds in song, the busyness and singing all day long. Bulbs break ground in falling rain, so happy to greet spring again. Daffodils, baby leaves, waving wind and give a gentle breeze. Spring rain, rustle streams, wake up roots from your winter dreams. The spring peepers, birds in song, their busyness and singing all day long. Bulbs break ground in falling rain, so happy to greet spring again. Dance in the sun, squirrels relax, your winter work, it's done. The garden is calling me, my hands are dirty, it's where I wanna be. Spring peepers, birds in song, the busyness of singing all day long. Bulbs break ground in falling rain, so happy to greet spring again. So happy to greet spring again.
Good morning, Celebration Center for Spiritual Living, and welcome to another fabulous Sunday morning. Happy Mother's Day to all of our mothers and mother figures out there in the world. And as we have begun the tradition in years past, I will be reading a series of Mother's Day blessings in just a little while, and then we will honor and bless our mothers together. If you are joining us online, good morning to you. Welcome to our service this morning. Put into the chat for me. I need to start thinking about this ahead of time. I don't know why I always wait until the moment of. Put into the chat what you're planning to do today. What does this afternoon hold for you after church? That's what I would like to know this morning. So let us know in the chat, in the comments, and we're so glad that you're joining us, that you have taken part of your day to be here with us, whether you are here in person or joining us online. If you are joining us for the very first time, an extra special welcome to you. Thank you so much for being here this morning. And we would love to get to know you further. So if you feel comfortable, we invite you to fill out a guest card. And you can do that in a couple of different ways. You can go to bit.ly/CCSL guest, or simply scan this QR code that has popped up, and that will lead you to that guest form that you can fill out for us. Let us know what you're looking for and join our mailing list if you so choose. Since you are online already, if you are online already, you are poised right there to share us out onto social media. So go ahead and click that share button. Let your friends and family know what you're up to this morning. Ask them to join you. Ask them to come to the Center for Spiritual Living with you this morning. That's the nice thing about being online, right? You don't even have to be in the same house as somebody to go to church with them anymore. You guys, we can just all come to the center together. How cool is that? If you would like a prayer this week, if you would like to be prayed for by our ministers and practitioners in our ministry of prayer, we invite you to fill out a prayer request form by going to celebrationcenter.org and clicking on Request Affirmative Prayer, or you can scan the QR code. Or if you are here in the room, we have guest cards up at the front, but we also have prayer cards at the front, and we invite you to fill one of those out. This morning, Lynn Hollyfield, our music director, and I were talking about how between the two of us being gone, we haven't even seen each other in like a month. So I am super excited because this morning, Lynn Hollyfield is back after her hiatus last week to offer her beautiful music. So let's give her a round of applause. And I will be offering the message today. We are talking about unlearning our fear of darkness. I have had a lot of fun putting this message together today. Oh, thank you. And we have our illustrious practitioner, Irina Kurasiewicz, as our practitioner on platform. So let's give her a round of applause as well. And as always, thank you to our tech team who are in the back making sure that everything is just so smooth and good and perfect. So let's give them a big round of applause too. I have to say that Ivor, anytime he thinks that he can just sort of relax and, kick back and everything's all figured out, I buy a new piece of equipment or get a new idea or bring something in for him to set up. And I'm just so grateful for all that he especially does for our center. I have a microphone today that he will be hooking up after the service. Yay, Ivor, yes. We are continuing our toy drive for Lutheran Social Services, so bring in your new toys to contribute to the children that come into their resource center. Their vision is to give every single child that walks through the door a toy. Also, World Refugee Day is on June 9th. It's a Friday, and they are doing this big carnival, this huge activity where all of the refugees, everybody in the DC area, whether they have served them or not, can come together, meet one another. We can outreach and serve them in another way. And we are offering a collaborative art table that everybody is going to collaborate on, that then the art can hang in the Resource Center for Lutheran Social Services. So put June 9th on your calendar to volunteer to come help with that project. But also next week, we are going to be sending out a list of all of the materials that we need to purchase for this art project, purchase and collect. And so keep an eye out for that. And I invite you to collect or purchase whatever you can do and support us in offering that collaborative art project for World Refugee Day. Art night this month is on the 19th. That's this Friday. And so we invite you to come to art night with Miriam Catellis. And oh my goodness, they're doing this like mixed media something cool. I don't have a picture of it. She sent me a picture. It looks really awesome, y'all. So that is a $15 suggested love offering. It is in person here in Haight Hall. So go ahead and RSVP to Miriam at miriam.catellis@yahoo.com. You can find all of the information on our website at celebrationcenter.org. Our Tuesday night meditation, which has been going on for over 4 years now, is changing, not going away, just changing. So we are revamping it, restyling it, enlivening it, and we're doing that in a couple of different ways. So the first way is that we are now collaborating with Soul Evolution Collaborative. So this is now going to be, it's in their name, right? This is now going to be this collaboration between our two centers to offer this Tuesday evening meditation. It is called Pause, Breathe, Repeat. So we invite you to join us at 6 o'clock. It's a new time, 6 o'clock on Tuesday evenings, beginning the 30th. For the next couple of weeks, it's going to stay the same so we can make sure that everybody gets the memo. But beginning May 30th, Tuesday evenings, 6 o'clock, no more check-in or anything like that. We're just going to come together, spend about 30 minutes in meditation, and then go on our way. So it's just truly this moment to pause, breathe, and repeat. All right, so that will begin on May 30th, and for now, just continue to come, 5:30 regular time for the next couple of weeks. We'll be announcing this further so that everybody's on the same page when that begins, that collaboration with Soul Evolution Collaborative. And then, as I said, today is Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to all of the moms out there, everyone who has shown up with that mother energy. And in just a few minutes, I will invite us into blessing of our mothers. And with that, I would like to invite Lynn up for an opening. Sure. Okay, so Lynn just asked us to do the Mother's Day blessing first. And you know what? I think that is a lovely idea, to begin our service by blessing all of the mothers and people in the world who have served that mother energy. And so what I know about Mother's Day is that for a lot of people, it is a time of celebration. It's a time of celebrating their own motherhood or the mothers that they had in their lives. And for other people, this can be a really challenging day for a number of reasons. Perhaps they aren't the mother they thought they would be, or they have an estranged relationship from their mother or their children, or whatever it may be. And so I have a series of blessings that I would like to offer for all of the people for whom Mother's Day affects. And so I invite you to just listen to these words and allow the blessings to wash over you. Whatever blessing suits you, just take that into your heart and spirit, knowing that whoever you are and wherever you are blessed on this Mother's Day. So I have a Mother's Day blessing for those with good mother relationships. May you treasure the time and the relationship you have with your mother, the hard work and tears it's taken to keep that relationship good, and the joy that Mother's Day brings. A blessing for those who have lost their mothers. May you feel the freedom to mourn your loss while remembering the good, the bad, and the missed opportunities. May you be surrounded by those who mourn with you and don't insist you put on a smile. A blessing for those who never had a mother. May you be supported by the divine feminine through chosen family and mother figures that can help fill that void. May you feel seen and heard and not expected to take on others' experiences of mothering as your own. A blessing for those with strained mother relationships. May you feel the freedom not to put on a happy face, to be honest yet honoring about your relationship with your mother. May you be able to celebrate or not celebrate as you see fit. A blessing for mothers with strained child relationships. May you feel honored as a mother, even if the honor doesn't come from your children. May you allow your children the freedom not to celebrate or to celebrate from a distance. May you forgive yourself and your children for the strain. A blessing for mothers of children they birthed and did not raise. May your mother's heart still be felt by your children. May you make peace with the decisions you made in the past and know that your children are loved and cherished by those who raised them. A blessing for mothers who have lost children. May your motherhood be honored even when it is not seen. May your mourning be comforted. May you allow yourself to hold all of the feelings this day holds with tenderness and love. May celebration of mothering children that are still alive not disregard the loss of those who are not. A blessing for men who have pulled double duty as being both father and mother. May you have a double portion of grace to carry such weight alone. May you have loving people in your life step up to support you as you support and raise your children. A blessing for those who long to be mothers. May you find peace in knowing that divine timing is unfolding through this challenge. May you have children in your life to nurture with love and joy, regardless of whether they are yours or not. May you be surrounded by those who can offer genuine support and not just cliche encouragements. A blessing for those who have chosen not to be mothers. May you feel respected in your choice to abstain and not treat it as less than. May you feel honored as a woman and the nurturing feminine energy you bring to those in your life. A blessing for those who feel they missed their chance to be mothers. May you find comfort in your mourning. May you make peace with timing and biology. May your legacy live on in children whose lives you have touched. And a blessing for those who are mothers. May you feel loved, honored, and supported in whatever form of mother you are. Biological, foster, adoptive, spiritual. May your children call you blessed. And finally, I invite you to raise your hands, and we're going to put a blessing on the screen, a blessing of our mothers, and I invite you to say this aloud with me. We bless you today for the blessing you have given the world through this role of mother you have chosen. We honor the love, joy, sadness, heartache, times of laughter, and times of tears that being a mother has brought to your life. We recognize the powerful way that you have changed lives and made the world a better place through nurturing and loving children. We are so grateful for your presence in our community and for the deep love that you share with us. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you to our mothers. And now I would like to invite Lynn for an opening song.
Okay, we're going to start off with Divine Light Mandala by Anike, and I hope you'll sing along. I am created by divine light. I am sustained by divine light. I am protected by divine light. I am surrounded by divine light and constantly moving toward divine light. Hey, 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 I am created by divine light. I am sustained by divine light. I am protected by divine light. I am surrounded by divine light and constantly moving toward divine light. Hey, 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 I am created by divine light. I am sustained by divine light. I am protected by divine light. I am surrounded by divine light and constantly moving toward divine light. Hey, hey, hey.
I was so relaxed into the blessing and the music. And my name is Irina Kurasiewicz, and I wish you good morning and happy Mother's Day. And let's start our sacred time together from reading our vision. Take a deep breath and please read with me. We are celebrating spirit within and knowing the oneness of humanity. And today's reading comes from the May issue of Science of Mind magazine. And the quote itself from Wayne Dyer, Your Sacred Self, the name of the book. Of all the enlightened beings I have met and have read about, the one similar quality they seem to possess is that they are not in any way tied to their past. They are free because they don't rely on the way things used to be to define their lives today. And I invite you to contemplate this thought and start with a square breathing. Feel supported by your chair. Your feet are supported by the planet, all its power. And take a breath. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. Breathe in. Hold. And breathe out. Breathe in. Hold. And breathe out. And just feel how your lungs and your heart expanded just because of this couple of breaths we took together. And enjoy this expansion. And continue to breathe into your heart, knowing that every breath is a new breath, new life. And let's pray. I recognize that there is only one power, one presence, one essence. And today I choose to call it God. And I know that God is omnipresent. I know that God is love. It is harmony. It is bliss. It is peace. It is joy. It is abundance and prosperity. And God doesn't know any limitation. It has no form. It has no rules. It just is. It's pure presence. And as I know that God is all there is, I recognize that I am all that God is, as I am one and inseparable from the divine. And it is such a blessing to recognize my oneness. And through this blessing of knowing that I am one, I know that everyone and everything is one and inseparable from the divine. I see the oneness of the universe. I see the oneness with God for all the human beings and animals and plants and things I have no idea about. And I know that the divine opportunities, countless amount of opportunities, are available for everyone, as there is no separation. And I know that every breath I take, if I make this choice, can change what I am going to do, what I'm doing. And I know that if anyone decides not to be defined by yesterday, it's absolutely their right. And the Celebration Center is here to celebrate it with everyone. This philosophy is to celebrate it. And I just know pure love. I know joy and laughter. I know beautiful talent expressions, abundance, prosperity, bliss, and harmony for everyone who hears my voice right now. I know that the prayers are open to be fulfilled. And they are fulfilled in the perfect mind of God. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful to recognize that God is. I'm very grateful to know my oneness and to see the oneness of others. And I'm grateful to know the power of the prayer, the power of spiritual mind treatment. I'm very grateful to know it and to faith it. And from this deep gratitude, I simply release my words into the law, knowing that they're done. And I simply say, and so it is.
I'm going to share a song that I wrote about my daughter in honor of Mother's Day. And here's to all the mother figures in our life and those that nurture us. This is called Shadow. Laughing about the past, we're searching for the answer. You'd see nothing really lasts. Early morning driving, crescent moon on the rise, and a shadow of a girl in the corner of my eye. I'd never dare suggest her steps are like the ones I took back in the day, in the park out in the sun. I see her now at 16, her beauty running wild, and a shadow of a girl in the corner of my eye. I clearly see you're standing tall, another year older. I see you're confident, stronger and bolder. I see you're ready to conquer the world. No more a shadow of a girl. She comes to me with a tear in her eye to talk about the hard things and figure out the why. I hold her in my heart forever, she's my child. This shadow of a girl still with me for a while. This shadow of a girl still with me for a while.
Thank you, Lynn. What a perfect, you managed to pull Mother's Day and shadows and all of it in with this one song that you wrote a long time ago. It's beautiful. Thank you. All right, so I have a question for all of y'all this morning, and you can put your answer in the chat if you would like. How many of you were afraid of the dark when you were a child? I was afraid of the dark as a child. I see some, and I see a lot of hands raised. How many of you are still afraid of the dark? Sometimes. I heard a sometimes. Yeah. Depends where. Yes. So, any child can tell you that an innocuous bedroom by day becomes a place filled with dangerous monsters hiding in the closet or under the bed, right? But luckily, children have teddy bears. And teddy bears can stave off the monsters, right? And so we tend to think that we have outgrown this fear of the darkness, right? I heard a couple of sometimes, but for the most part, I just got blank looks and no hands raised when I asked that question. And yet, I have a story that I want to tell you. This is a story that Silent George told in his blog that I found. And he was talking about how he was taking his family through Bighorn National Forest in Wyoming. And they had a truck with a trailer, one of the RV sort of trailers attached to it, and they were going up and over the mountains. And they meant to do it in the daytime, but due to a series of events, they ended up climbing up over these mountains in their truck at night. And he said that he thought that he wasn't afraid of the dark, that he had long outgrown that fear, but as they were chugging, as the truck struggled up this mountain, all of the sudden that fear of the dark came rushing back. He said he had never experienced darkness like the darkness in the middle of a national forest in Wyoming. And I don't know if y'all have ever experienced that level of darkness, but it can be really intense. It almost feels like it's thick, right? It has a weight to it. And he said as they went up and over that mountain and their engine was revving, he was like, what if the truck breaks down? What if we hit one of those big deer that we keep seeing on the side of the road? What if we're eaten by wild animals? And the list of fears went on and on and on. And all of a sudden, he had to face the fact, he was forced to face the darkness full on, and the fact that maybe that fear that he thought he had given up so long ago, maybe it was just simmering under the surface. And as soon as he came upon a situation where he couldn't turn back, he couldn't turn away, he couldn't turn on a light, he had to simply go through the darkness. All of a sudden, that fear came welling back up to the surface. And then he said that it dawned on him as he was having this experience that this fear of the external darkness was simply a projection of his own internal fear of his own internal darkness. And that in today's day and age, we don't really need to fear the darkness anymore. I mean, maybe if you're in the jungle in the middle of the jungle in the middle of the night with no flashlight or something, and there's bears or lions or I don't know, whatever there are in jungles in the middle of the night, then maybe there is a actual physical survival reason to be afraid of the dark. But in general, we don't really even have that much darkness anymore to be afraid of. And yet this is an evolutionary fear. Our ancestors were afraid of the dark because there might be wild animals. If they leave the safety of their cave and their fire, there might be wild animals that eat them, or they might get bitten by a poisonous snake or whatever it is. And so that evolutionary fear of darkness has been passed down. And yet what Silent says is that it dawned on him that even though that evolutionary fear is what rose up to the surface, the way that it shows up now is our own fear of our own internal darkness. He says they were fears that were already present in him, but they was simply magnified once he could no longer see where he was going, physically see where he was going. And what he said is that total darkness feels disorienting and menacing. And our fear of our inner darkness mirrors our fear of our external darkness, or rather, what I would say is that our fear of external darkness is mirroring our fear of our internal darkness. We do all we can to run away from that internal darkness, from our grief, our despair, our pain, our failure, our guilt, our vulnerability, right? We do all we can to run away from those things that we consider to be dark expressions of ourselves. And then what he went on to talk about is what was the missed opportunity there on that mountain in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming. What opportunity did he miss to experience more God? What Barbara Brown Taylor says is, if we turn away from darkness on principle, doing everything we can to avoid it because there's simply no telling what it contains, isn't there a chance that what we are running from is God? And he talks about that. He talks about, I wonder if I had stopped and looked around, what would I have seen? What would the stars have looked like? What was the experience? That penetrative darkness also becomes penetrative silence, where we can hear ourselves or hear that voice of spirit, however it shows up for us and as us on a deeper level. What opportunity did he miss by running away from the darkness on principle? Just because that's what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to run away from the darkness. So then I got to thinking about my own experience with that sort of weighted darkness. And about 12 years ago, I took a trip with my dad and my son, who was 4 at the time. And we went to Big Bend National Park in southern Texas. Now, those of us on the East Coast, before I had spent time in Texas, or rather driving across Texas, we don't realize how big Texas is. We think Texas, we think cowboys and guns and cowboy boots and cowboy hats and y'all and flat lands, right? But actually, Texas is so massive that there are mountains, there are immense forests and beauty and all of this stuff. So Big Bend National Park is located in southern Texas, and we were driving from Houston, which is in southeast Texas. So to go from southeast Texas and Houston to southern Texas, it took us 14 hours. That is how big Texas is, right? And we got there and we set up our RV. My dad does not camp. He glamps in his fifth wheel RV. So we got it all set up. And that first night, I went outside, and that darkness, that oppressive darkness was there. I was afraid. I was like, nope. You can hear things. You can hear things rustling around, and you're like, I'm going to stay right here in this little circle of light from the little front porch of the RV, right? I am not going any further. And yet, over the week, I got more and more brave about exploring the darkness, to the point where by the end, I would walk down the road with no flashlight, just walking and seeing what I could experience. Now, I had a flashlight with me. It just wasn't on, right? And what was so cool about that is I could hear things moving around right beside me, going about whatever it is they were doing, even though I couldn't see them because of the darkness. And when I would turn on the light and shine it, there would be javelina right there, just a couple feet away from me. Now, I'm going to show you what javelina look like. Oh, that is a javelina. It is a rodent, not a pig. It is a rodent, and it stands about 2 feet high. It's pretty big, and they would just be running in these packs. They live in families, and they're herbivores. They are completely harmless. But they're also a little, that's one of the things that somebody would say, I wouldn't want to run up on that in the dark, right? And yet, here I was experiencing what it was like to just be in nature with what was going on around me. It was so cool. It was. And the stars were the most amazing thing that I have ever seen. Now, I can see the bands of the Milky Way from my dad's driveway. So that, growing up, he still lives in the house that I grew up in. So growing up, that was a fairly typical experience for me, to be able to see the bands of the Milky Way. And so you wouldn't think that there'd be a big difference between that and then the Big Bend National Park sky. And yet there was. The level of stars and the crispness and the bands of the Milky Way and all of the things that I could see was just mind-blowing. Just mind-blowing. I've been listening back over my talks from over the last couple of years, and I realize I use that term a lot. My mind is blown a lot, y'all. And yet, that's how it felt. And I still, to this day, 12 years later, I'm so grateful to myself for having the courage to move past that fear of darkness so that I could experience God in that way that was being called of me in that time. It was just chef's kiss, right? So then I got to thinking, so I was thinking about that experience and just how profound that was. And then I got to thinking about how we avoid the darkness inside ourselves, how we try to shove that down, we pretend it's not there, we turn away, we only want to look at the light, all of those things. And what does that do? How is that inability to see our own darkness, how does that keep us from, as Barbara says, how does that keep us running from God? And I wanted to dive deeper into this idea of good and bad, because I think that, like I talked about last week, we have this idea that the light is good and the dark is bad. And so we want to shove down anything that is bad. We want to shove down that darkness in ourselves. We want to pretend it doesn't exist. But what happens when we do that, when we label the dark as bad and the light is good, is that we box ourselves in. And all of a sudden, our life looks kind of like this. We have a good box and we have a bad box, right? And you can only be in one box or the other. Like I can only be in the good box over here or the bad box. Let me just get fully in that bad box, right? But we can't be in both at the same time. And so what ends up happening is that we want to be good people, whether we're pretending or not. We want to be good people. So we put ourselves in the good box. There we are in the good box, right? But what happens when we do something that we would label as bad? Well, when we do something that we would label as bad, we either tell ourselves that that thing was actually good and that we were justified, and if people just understood our motivations behind why we did that bad thing, they would realize that it was actually a good thing because I am a good person. Or we refuse to look at it. We stuff it down. We say, like that old song, "It wasn't me. You caught me, but it wasn't me. It wasn't me. I didn't do it." We're unable to examine our true motivations, our reasons for our decisions, for our behavior. And as Socrates says, the unexamined life is not worth living. Now, let's say that we do admit that we did a bad thing. Well, all of a sudden, what do? We have to jump over to the bad box. And now we're a bad person. But we can't be good and bad simultaneously, right? So now all of a sudden, I suck. I'm the worst person in the world. I can't believe I did this horrible thing. There's no value to me. Just throw me out with the garbage. I'm worthless, right? And we sit here in the bad box and we wallow in the fact that we are not what we thought we were. We were not a good person. But then, have no fear. We make it up. We do something good, right? We help that person. We say the right thing, whatever it may be. And we get to jump back into the good box. And so then we're bouncing back and forth and back and forth and back and forth regarding our behavior and our decisions and our actions, not necessarily our motivations or our intentions or our impact or any of that, but everything that we do has to be either good or bad, and we are either good or bad as a result. And when we are good or bad, we have to jump back and forth from box to box. Doesn't that sound a little bit exhausting? Now, I am a very loyal person. Loyalty actually winds up quite high on my value list. And so when my friend comes to me and she's been dating a guy and she comes to me and she says, "He did this to me. That's it. He is dead to me. He is a bad person. It doesn't matter what else he does. It doesn't matter if they get back together. It doesn't matter if she ends up marrying him. He is the worst. He is never, ever going to get out of that bad box, right? Do you have somebody who's in the bad? They're just a bad person. Just a bad person. Everything they do is wrong. It doesn't matter what they do. Even if they do a good thing, well, that was a fluke. They're still a bad person. I do that. I don't know if y'all do that. And as soon as we do that it doesn't matter who that person actually is. Everything they do, we are going to judge as bad. And we're going to constantly question their motivations, even when they do something good over and over and over. We're going to go, well, that was good, but why? Why were they doing that? It's probably because they're selfish. They probably weren't doing that because they're actually a good person. There was probably some underlying motive, right? And on it goes. I had a friend, actually that same friend, and we had our people on our good list or our bad list, and each other, we were on our good list. We could do no wrong. And so I would come to her and I would say, I did this thing. I'm really embarrassed. I'm feeling really guilty about it. It definitely wasn't the best decision that I've ever made. I wish that I had chosen differently. She would go, oh, be gentle with yourself. I love you so much. You could do no wrong. You meant well, right? And I would do the same thing to her. And so what we would do is when we would come to one another with one of our bad people on the bad list, and we would say, so-and-so did thus and such. Can you even believe it? They forgot their book for class, for ministerial school. They forgot their book. What an idiot, right? And what we would say to one another is, if I did that, how would you respond to me? If I forgot my book for class, how would you respond? And we go, oh, well, it was just a mistake. I love you so much. And then we would overlay that and say, maybe it was just a mistake. Maybe that person isn't a bad person. Maybe it was just a mistake. And in that way, we could kind of, begin to loosen that grip on good and bad. So what is the alternative to all this? Because this all sounds exhausting, right? It sounds exhausting to have everybody in a box, and either they're in the box they're in forever and ever more, or they have to jump back and forth to the box, and we're constantly jumping back and forth, or we just stay in our one box and we refuse to look at anything we do and examine our motivations. What's the alternative? The alternative is to say, I'm a human. I'm a human and I do things. And some of the things are things that I would label as good, and some of the things are things that I would label as bad, and sometimes I act selfishly, and sometimes I act selflessly, and sometimes I'm angry, and sometimes I'm fearful, and sometimes I'm joyful, and sometimes I'm accomplished or successful, and sometimes I make a mistake or I'm discouraged. I'm human. I'm human. That is the alternative. And when we can just let ourselves and everyone else off of the hook, when we can just say, I'm a human and I do human things, and doing human things includes things that I am not going to be glad about and other things that I'm going to be really glad about, then we don't have to jump back and forth in and out of the good, bad box, and we can actually examine our motivations. So I'm teaching youth and family ministry right now, and I've been reading Your First 2 Years in Youth Ministry by Doug Fields. And he is a traditional Christian youth minister at Saddleback Church, which is the church that Rick Warren started, who wrote Your Purpose-Driven Life and all of those things. So that's the framework that he is coming from, right? And we actually read a lot of their books in ministerial school. And he was talking about when he first got to Saddleback that he decided he was going to cancel a student-led service. Now, there was nothing wrong with the service. Nothing bad was happening or anything like that, but he decided that he was going to cancel it. And the reasons that he gave were that it's not growing and that it took students out of the house for another night of the week. So it was something else that they had to fit into their very busy schedules and lives. Those are both valid and good reasons. But then he says he went into prayer. So he examined himself. He looked within and said, what are my true motivations for canceling this thing that the students have been doing for years, that they enjoy, and that really isn't a problem? What is my true motivation? And what he realized when he examined his motives, it was because he wanted to be noticed. He wanted to develop credibility in his new church. He wanted people to see him and to notice that he was making changes that were going to be good for the youth ministry. And he wanted opportunities to highlight his speaking skills, which he didn't get in a youth-led service because the youth were the ones that were speaking. And so he was able to stop himself from making that decision that had good and valid reasons behind it, because he looked at his true motives and realized that his motives weren't in the best interest of the youth program. So what if we could do that? Instead of being afraid of our own darkness, what if instead we just say, we're human, we have light, we have dark, we have everything in between, and we just get to allow ourselves to examine our own motivations. The bad things that we do not negate the good things that we do, and the good things that we do not negate the bad things that we do. Martin Luther King Jr., amazing leader of the civil rights movement and a womanizer. Elon Musk, advancing technology and space travel beyond our wildest imagination, and destroying Twitter and hoarding wealth. Both of those things are simultaneously true about these people. Walt Disney continues in his death to bring joy to the whole world, and he was incredibly racist. Both of those things are simultaneously true. The one does not negate the other. And so we get to look at people, ourselves and others, as whole people. We do good things, we do bad things, we do things with a positive motivation, a negative motivation, all of it simultaneously. And as we can let go of our fear of darkness, that internal fear, we can take a deep breath and we can just allow ourselves and one another to be human. Ben Okri says, "Fear not, my friend. The darkness is gentler than you think." And so that's what I want to leave us today. The darkness is gentler than you think. And so you can just relax into it and allow yourself to be your whole human self with your light parts, your dark parts, and everything in between. The darkness is gentler than you think. Let's pray. And so what I know is that this entire universe and everything in it and the multiverse and beyond all of that, that everything is God. And so the light is God, the dark is God, the black, the white, the good, the bad, the all of it, the intention, the impact, all of it is this thing that we call God, this infinite, absolute, eternal presence that is ever existing as the consciousness of life in all and through all and as all. And so knowing this to be true, I know that each and every one of us are 100% totally human, with light and dark and good and bad and everything in between in us, and we are 100% totally spiritual in this beautiful divine paradox of being wholly two things simultaneously, that we are the one infinite, absolute, eternal presence, because that is the only thing that there is, and so that thing must be human as well. And so what I know and affirm is that each and every one of us is a divine human, and that is beautiful. That is light and dark. That is something that we can examine and lean into and deepen our connection with ourselves, with spirit, and with our lives and our motivations. And so I'm so grateful for this beloved community where we get to continue continue to examine our motivations to show up together and be 100% human and 100% divine all together in the same moments. And so I simply release my word. I let it go. I know it is done as I have spoken. And so it is.
All right. Well, I changed the song I'm going to do. All right. This is a song called Fall to Grace, about being human. We all are human. I hear you cry. Sometimes we let it out. Sometimes we hide it. This thread so common. Together we are strong. And we'll lift the weight of your burden. Help you move along. Now don't you worry, step through your fear, never knowing your strength is near. Tumbling, twisting, turning round, a gentle fall to grace that cradles as you stumble and settles you in place. Tumbling, twisting, turning round, a gentle fall to grace that cradles as you stumble and settles you in place. I hear your laughter in the wind. It echoes loud and long, invites you in. These days and starry nights, floating in the breeze, a long embrace soon, lullabies not ready to leave. We all are human. I hear you cry. Sometimes we let it out. Sometimes we hide it. We're all together in the weave, woven close and strong. And we'll lift the weight of your burden and help you move along. We'll be moving right 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 along.
Thank you, Lynn. So this is the time in our service for our gifts and our offerings, knowing that your presence as a whole human being is a gift to this community. And we run on the time, talents, and treasures of our community. And so we invite you to give in several different ways. You can go to celebrationcenter.org and click on the Give button. You can also scan that QR code that's popped up right next to me. Or if you are here in the room, of course, you can put your donation into the basket. And now I would like to invite Irina up for our blessing and affirmation.
And let's bless those generous donations of money, energy, talent, time. And I know that all these wonderful qualities easily and effortlessly flow through the Celebration Center, creating new events, Sunday services, classes, picnics, services, book sales, and so, so, so much more. We just open the vessel of this energy. And I know generosity and abundance and prosperity for all who participate in this flow. And I know that the blessings come back to them, multiplied abundantly. And I simply, in deep gratitude, let it be with joy. And so it is.
Okay, please join me in singing I Sing My Love by Christy Snow. Send this one out to Jen Fay, who taught me how to do that. Okay, here we go, everybody. I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. I sing my joy, I dance my joy, I dance my joy, I dance my joy into the world. I dance my joy, I dance my joy, I dance my joy into the world. I dance my joy, I dance my joy, I dance my joy into the world. I dance my joy, I dance my joy, I dance my joy into the world. I live my peace, I live my peace, I live my peace into the world. I live my peace, I live my peace, I live my peace into the world. I live my peace, I live my peace, I live my peace into the world. I live my peace, I live my peace, I live my peace into the world. I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. I sing my love into the world. I sing my love into the world.
That was good. No, thank you. So today is Drum Circle, and we are doing it in the park. So if you'd like to join Brent in the park, get on to Meetup and check out. All of the information is on there about how to find him and all of that, or message us and we'll send out the information to you as well. And it's at the Falls Church Park right here down the road. There, I don't know. I meant to look all of this information up and I forgot. But if you go to our Meetup page, which I know a lot of y'all are on, all of the information is on there, and I will get it onto our calendar as well, like right now, so that you can go join him. And with that, I invite you to repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening right now. I release old ideas about good and bad. I am open to new perspectives. I see the value in everything and everyone. I am a blessing to the world. And so it is.